Introduction to Taxation Law. Theory and basis of taxation. 1. Lifeblood theory. The underlying basis of taxation is governmental necessity, for without taxation, a government can neither exist nor endure. Taxes are the lifeblood of the government and so should be collected without unnecessary hindrance. It is said that taxes are what we pay for civilized society. Without taxes, the government would be paralyzed for lack of the motive power to activate and operate it. 2. Necessity theory. The power of taxation proceeds upon the theory that the existence of the government is a necessity, that it cannot continue without means to pay its expenses, and that for those means it has the right to compel all citizens and property within its limits to contribute. The power to tax is an attribute of sovereignty. 3. Benefits protection theory, symbiotic relationship. This principle serves as the basis of taxation and is founded on the reciprocal duties of protection and support between the state and its inhabitants. Inherent and constitutional limitations on taxation. 1. Inherent limitations. The following are the inherent limitations of taxation. A. Public purpose. The proceeds of the tax must be used. 1. For the support of the state, or 2. For some recognized objects of government or directly to promote the welfare of the community. A. Inherently legislative. General rule. The power to tax is exclusively vested in the legislative body and it may not be redelegated. Exceptions. 1. Delegation to local governments. 2. Delegation to the President. 3. Delegation to administrative agencies. B. Territorial. It does not mean, however, that a person outside of state is no longer subject to its taxing powers. The fundamental basis of the right to tax is the capacity of the government to provide benefits and protection to the object of the tax. C. International comity. The property or income of a foreign state or government may not be the subject of taxation by another state. D. Exemption of government entities, agencies, and instrumentalities. General rule. Agencies and instrumentalities of the government are exempt from tax. Their exemption rests on the state's sovereign immunity from taxation. There is no constitutional prohibition against the government taxing itself. The following are the constitutional limitations of taxation. Provisions directly affecting taxation. 1. Prohibition against imprisonment for non-payment of poll tax. 2. Uniformity and equality of taxation. 3. Grant by Congress of authority to the President to impose tariff rates. 4. Prohibition against taxation of religious, charitable entities, and educational entities. 5. Prohibition against taxation of non-stock, non-profit educational institutions. 6. Majority vote of Congress for grant of tax exemption. 7. Prohibition on use of tax levied for special purpose. 8. President's veto power on appropriation, revenue, tariff bills. 9. Non-impairment of jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. 10. Grant of power to the local government units to create its own sources of revenue. 11. Flexible tariff clause. 12. Exemption from real property taxes, and 13. No appropriation or use of public money for religious purposes. Provisions indirectly affecting taxation. 1. Due process. 2. Equal protection. 3. Religious freedom. 4. Non-impairment of obligations of contracts. 5. Freedom of speech and expression. 6. Presidential power to grant reprieves, communications, and pardons, and remit fines and forfeitures after conviction by final judgment, and 7. No taking of private property for public use without just compensation. Stages or aspects of taxation. 1. Legislative act. Levy or imposition. This refers to the enactment of a law by Congress authorizing the imposition of tax. 2. Executive act. Assessment and collection. This is the act of administration and implementation of the tax law by executive through its administrative agencies. 3. Taxpayers Act. Payment, the act of compliance by the taxpayer, including such options, schemes or remedies as may be legally available. 4. Taxpayers and Executive Act. Refund, the recovery of any alleged to have been erroneously or illegally assessed or collected, or of any penalty claimed to have been collected without authority, or of any sum alleged to have been excessively, or in any manner wrongfully collected. Requisites of a valid tax. 1. It must be for a public purpose. 2. Rule of taxation should be uniform. 3. The person or property taxed is within the jurisdiction of the taxing authority. 4. Assessment and collection is in consonance with the Due Process Clause, and 5. The tax must not infringe on the inherent and constitutional limitations of the power of taxation. Situs of taxation is the place or authority that has the right to impose and collect taxes. Factors that determine the situs of taxation. 1. Residence of the taxpayer. 2. Citizenship of the taxpayer. 3. Nature of the tax. 4. Subject matter of the tax. 5. Source of income. Bar question. In order to raise revenue for the repair and maintenance of the newly constructed City Hall of Makati, the city mayor ordered the collection of 1 peso called elevator tax every time a person rides any of the high-tech elevators in the City Hall during the hours of 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Is the imposition of elevator tax valid? No. The imposition of a tax, fee or charge, or the generation of revenue under the local government code, shall be exercised by the Sanggunian of the LGU concerned through an appropriate ordinance. The city mayor alone could not order the collection of the tax. As such, the elevator tax is an invalid imposition.
Thanks for watching. Follow me on my other social media accounts at ms_notabene.
Be sure to subscribe and click on the bell icon to be notified whenever I post. Have you more questions regarding my law school experience or have any recommendations for my next videos? Leave a comment below. See you on the next one.